stag party or a stagette party?
Stagette.
Yeah, so a loonie, and then we have a toonie.
Yeah. What? That sounds like a 1-2.
I know,
a 1-2. Get a
2-4. Do I have a 2-4 on aisle 12?
Hello! Hi, I'm Lauren from the UK. Hi, I'm Callie from the US.
And I'm Sydney from Canada.
So obviously when I was in Montreal and Quebec, everyone was speaking French. Luckily I know quite a bit of French, I was okay. But obviously that was difficult, like the language thing and like going into a coffee shop and having to like order in French, and I was really nervous. The other stuff like in Toronto, there was obviously like no real language barrier. And then Vancouver, everyone was really friendly and really kind, so I love Canada.
Canada also loves the UK, so.
Yeah. You think everyone loves Canada. I've never heard anyone talk smack about Canada.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad. We have a thing called Canadian raising. So how would you say ICE?
Ice.
Ice.
Yeah, for us it's ice.
So your intonation is like, woo?
Like question mark?
Yeah, so it's not even a question mark, but it rises naturally. So that's why a lot of people will think that we say about. Really, it's just like about. So that's like that woo.
Ice.
In the UK, we call this a coach station. Like we don't call them buses, we call them coaches. So like the buses are like normal transport buses, and then the big ones that go to like airports or other cities are coaches.
I think of coaches like a soccer coach.
I think it comes from the horse.
Yeah, I think of the horse-drawn.
In the US, we would call this a bus station.
Yeah, and then in Canada, we'll call it a bus depot, or some people even call it a bus station. I guess it really depends on which area in Canada, or like what they grew up with. Definitely have a mixture between American and Canadian.
I've definitely heard bus depot before. I think it's kind of same, like if someone said bus depot in the States, like it wouldn't sound strange.
It sounds so weird to me. Bus depot, like...
What do you think of when you hear a bus depot?
I would think it would be where the buses would be like resting at the end of the day. You know, like after the buses have been going around all day, that's where you keep them, like to store them kind of thing. Like,
if I hear like bus depot, I think of just like a place where you can go to buy buses type thing.
Like Office Depot?
Yeah, like Office Depot type thing.
I'm gonna go buy myself a bus. In the UK, we would call this a fire station.
In the US, we would also call it a fire station, or some people might call it a firehouse.
House.
In Canada, we'll say fire hall. Some people also mention it as fire station.
They all make sense. They're all just words for different buildings, I guess. So.
I don't know why we have hall, why we all of a sudden decided to go with hall.
Fire hall, it makes sense, but like we don't use hall for anything except the hallway.
Oh, okay.
So to me, it's a little strange, but in the context of it coming from that side of the world, it makes sense. We don't say anything
city
for
hall?
City hall. Oh, we call it the town hall. Okay, Okay, yeah.
So if you were just to hear like fire hall, what would you think? Like if someone's like, oh, there's the nice fire hall.
There's a corridor.
That's on fire.
That's on fire.
Or it's painted like fire.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, no, I would immediately think of like a corridor rather than like a building. But in the UK, this is a hen do if it's for the women, it's a stag do if it's for the men.
Hen do?
Yeah.
That's so funny, I've never heard that. Hen do, stag do. In the US, we would call it a bachelor party for the boys or a bachelorette party for the girls.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, definitely. In Canada, we actually will use a stag party or a stagette party.
Stagette.
Yeah, or we'll use a bachelor party or a bachelorette party. And then some people will even say a hen party.
Oh, okay. So you got that influence like from both.
Yeah.
That's drop the do.
Yeah.
Just a hen party.
A hen party, and I guess some people in Canada, they might say like a Jack party or a Jill party, Jack and Jill party.
Jack and Jill together?
Yeah.
Or just a Jack
opposite.
party?
A Jack party and a Jill party. But I personally haven't heard that amongst my friends, but amongst my friends we'll say a stag party, stagette party.
Stagette is too funny.
But it makes sense, like bachelor and bachelorette.
Yeah,
stagette.
It's cute. In the UK, we would say pound or pounds.
In the US, we would say a buck or just like $1. Yeah, if you're talking about the paper itself, you could call it a bill too.
Oh, so we say note.
You guys still have $1 bills, eh?
Yeah.
In Canada, we'll say a loonie. Yeah, so a loonie, and then we have a toonie. Yeah.
What?
Toonie is $2 in one coin, because we have no dollar bills for $1 or $2 anymore. We did way back when.
Like this, when you were saying it, I got like flashbacks of my friends being like loony and the toonie.
Yeah. Oh, do you have a loonie? Like, do you have a toonie you can give?
Yeah, it's so cute. I love it.
You knew that from Canada?
Like it
You knew
came, as soon as she said it, I was like, I remember now.
Really?
Yeah. In Canadian context, like if you're talking about money, of course, be like, do you have a loonie? Do you have a toonie?
Would you be like, oh, it costs a loony?
Yeah, it costs a loonie. So it depends on the person as well. Some people will be leaning more towards just saying a loonie. Others will just use like $1 instead. Yeah.
So in the UK, we would call this an ice pop or an ice lolly, depending on the person. Pop.
In the US, we would call it a popsicle.
In Canada, like that particular one, we'll call it a popsicle. But in Canada, we have a different thing, which is called a freezy. And it's like, and you have to cut the top, and then you squeeze everything up. And we particularly have like one brand that we call Mr. Freezy. And so we all just call it a freezy. And that was the biggest thing in the summer. We'd all, oh, I want a freezy, I want a freezy. And there's different colors which have different flavors. So there's like the purple, which is the grape, and then yellow and lemon and things like this. And so it was,
I love those.
a
We used to
war.
buy those too. We would buy like boxes of them and just, you know, stash them in our freezer.
They were so good in the summer.
We call that just popsicle.
Oh, you call that a popsicle?
I think popsicle is just a term that we use for any kinds of those like flavored ice. Like if it's ice cream, we'll call it like an ice cream bar. But like any kind of flavored ice on a stick or that you hold, is popsicle.
The Canadian barriers here.
This one is like ice lolly on the stick, and then this squeeze, the pushy one is ice pop because it pops out the top.
Oh, okay.
No, we just
Maybe.
call that a freezy.
Okay.
100% a freezy. Yeah.
In the UK, we would call this full-fat milk.
In the US, we would call this whole milk.
And then in Canada, we call it homo milk.
Homo milk.
Yeah,
Homo milk.
Homogenized milk. No one's would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the store and get some homogenized milk.
Homogenized milk.
Everywhere, it's like it's not even a bad term. Like we don't use it as a bad term. Everyone knows, like when you say homo milk, it's like, oh, it's homogenized milk. Some people might like, oh, it's a bad word, homo. But it's like, no, for us, homo milk.
Definitely in the States, if you say that, I think
Homo
people would take it
milk, I would be like,
offensively,
what?
you know? Like it's an offensive term in the States.
I think it would take me a minute to realize like what it was, like homogenized milk.
I would definitely think that it's something like rude, like someone's being a jerk.
We also say whole milk sometimes, but usually it's like full-fat milk. It's kind of long.
Sometimes we might say full fat too, and definitely on labels I think it says full fat sometimes rather than like whole milk.
So in the UK, we will call this like a 24-pack, or a 12-pack, or a 6-pack. Not that kind of 6-pack, like beer 6-pack.
In the US, we would call this many things that we can call this. We call it a case of beer, a 24-pack. Actually, I think that's kind of more common because we can say a 6-pack also, or a 24-pack, or yeah, a case of beer.
In Canada, we'll say like a 2-4. We'll also say 24-pack. Some people will say, to be more specific, for those who don't drink.
If you say 2-4, do you just say like 6 or 6-pack?
Do you say a 1-2?
Yeah, 1-2.
I don't think we say 1-2. It's a 12-pack.
That sounds like a 1-2.
I know.
A 1-2. Get a
1-2.
2-4. Do I have a 2-4 on aisle 12? Either a stagette or a loony and a toonie.
For me, it was definitely like the hen do or the stag do.
Yeah, I like the loony and toonie too. Also, I just like the 2-4 because yeah, it sounds like some 2-4. I just picture it like on the walkie-talkie or something, you know.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, really fun. I think I want to start having my own vocabulary where I just use terms from like different countries.
Then you can just confuse everybody.
Everyone will know where I'm from.
It's great. It really makes it fun.
I'll be like, someone bring the 2-4 to the hen do. Gotta bring the 2-4 to the hen do.
So today we compared the USA, UK, and Canadian words.
If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.